Welcome to the Planet 63 Virtual Business Matchmaking Show, the next evolution of discovering Philippine and U.S.-made products and services. This is the show that helps create global sales opportunities and bring Philippine and U.S.-made products and services go from local to global. Thank you for watching the show, and now please welcome the host of Planet 63 from local to global, Ferdinand B. Soriano.
Market research, and to be more specific, international market research. It's a key piece of a successful export plan in globally expanding your market. Now, to me, market research is like going on a dream trip. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. Now, you have two ways of approaching that, right? You can go with the flow and see where the wind takes you, or you can actually plan your trip by prioritizing what you want to see first, then see if you have the budget to obviously see and enjoy all of those places on your list. Now, you can probably relate to that because basically exporting is somewhat the same because of the fact that, you know, when you're expanding or going to another market or country, and it's really the same feeling. You need to plan it out. You can't afford to just see where the wind basically takes you, or go and go wherever the wind takes you and go with the flow, as they say. But really, what you need is all the help you can get, and you also need all the data you can get. Hi everyone, my name is Ferdinand Soriano of Planet 63. I am your host for Planet 63 special edition of From Local to Global. And I'm also the founder of Planet 63. We are a product sourcing, logistics management, and also export marketing company based in the United States. Now, the overall purpose of this show is to create opportunities for Philippine-made products, services, and investments in the U.S. market. And what we're trying to do also is we want to encourage a lot of U.S. based entrepreneurs to consider creating businesses that are connected to Philippine-made products, services, and investments in the United States, of course. Now, in this episode, we discuss opportunities for Philippine manufacturers in the U.S. market for stationery products. Most of you are probably wondering, what the heck, with the internet and social media, who still writes and would need stationery? You'd actually be surprised. The reality is, because of the internet and social media, there are a lot more people, especially after what's happened, with the lockdown last year. A lot of people have started going back into buying stationery, and on the show, we're lucky enough to actually have the manufacturer, that's going to be a part. That we did the empowerment data for. We're lucky enough to have, once in a while, we do actually have a guest that wants to be in the show, and we're very happy about that, because we wrote this empowerment data. We also call it a business brief for this particular company. And this company is an iconic brand in the Philippines. It's been around since the 1960s, and obviously, needless to say, that's staying power, and it's all due because of their business acumen and their artistic creativity. Now, he's here today to basically talk about his business and also discuss the research that we sent to him as far as about his company and the opportunity that they can have here in the U.S. and also the brand's future in the United States. Now, we want to introduce one of its current owners, but we're not going to do it yet. He's a creative director, and also, because like I said, an all-around nice guy, and he's the co-owner of this company. Now, before we do all of that, I just want to talk about the other parts of the show, which I mentioned earlier. Now, the first half will be about the research paper, discuss that, and also the second part will be about the guests that we have today. Now, one of the secrets that Planet 63, you might not know this, is that one of the secrets that Planet 63 has in immediately bringing value to any of our prospective clients in the beginning phases of developing a relationship is that we collaborate with, our secret is we collaborate with Cal State University San Bernardino's Global Access Program. And with that collaboration, what they do is they create business briefs, market research, right, slash what we call empowerment data at Planet 63. And basically why we called it that is because it's not really a big, long, drawn out research paper. And what it's supposed to just really do is try to encourage the Philippine exporters to really consider the U.S. market to go ahead and take a chance, go ahead and do more research, kind of encourage them to really research the US market and its potential for their products. And to help me out with the research today, I want to go ahead and introduce the gentleman that's actually the one in charge of writing all of these research for the Global Access Program in terms of what we use here in Planet 63. He's a prolific writer. He's currently a student at Cal State University San Bernardino, and he's majoring in international business, and he's also a valuable student intern for Cal State San Bernardino University's Global Access Program, and of course Planet 63. And with that being said, please welcome Joseph Vides. Joseph, how are you, buddy?
Hello, Ferdinand. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you?
No, I'm actually fantastic. I'm excited for the show, and I'm hopefully our guest, because I know that he's never used StreamYard before, so he might have a little bit of a problem trying to get into the show. So hopefully we don't have that. Oh, he's there. I see him now. But we're going to bring him out later. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about you and talk about what you do at Cal State University San Bernardino, except attend the school. I mean, besides attend the school. So tell us a little bit about how you go about doing your research and putting all of that together, and where do you get it, and who has taught you how to do all of that?
Of course. So I'm going to start off with repeating what Ferdinand was so gracious of mentioning. I am a senior at the Cal State University of San Bernardino. I am studying international business with the focus in marketing, international marketing specifically. And I did get into this program through the directors, both Dr. Vipin Gupta and Jamie Ayala. They were both essential in helping me find Planet 63 and partnering with them with help through the resources that we have, like our library, which is where I get most of my research from, such as the IBIS World database, where I get a lot of the marketing information of the U.S. Industries, how well they're doing, their performance for the future, and what they've done in the past as well. Another kind of more websites that I use are kind of government sanctioned websites, like the National Bureau of Economic Research, and for food products we use the National Health Organization and things like that. So with that, we kind of help put together these, as Ferdinand likes to call them, empowerment data that help bring light into the U.S. markets, and with that kind of introduce types of opportunities as well, which is another type of these business briefs that determine the strengths and weaknesses of the markets and what opportunities can be taken by the Philippine manufacturers, or likewise U.S. manufacturers, to export through the Philippines. Kind of works both ways, helping find these types of products, just like the ones in stationery.
I want to reemphasize to our audience that what research, again, you do is very straight to the point. It creates what we're trying to really do is create some sort of an empowerment. That's why you call empowerment data, right?
Yes.
Because you hit the things that I think I personally would want to know, like the market value, points of entry, competition, things of that nature. And there's a lot more to it, but I want to do that caveat because it's doing the very extensive market research takes a lot of time, and we could do that. But here, when we create these things, it's just more for the purpose of encouraging the Philippine manufacturers or brand owners that we would like to help bring their products here in the U.S., just like what we're trying to do with the guests that we have in our second half hour of the show. So with that being said, why don't we just get right into the market research, Joseph? I just want to make sure that we clarified the type of research that you've actually done. And you guys would be surprised. It's amazing. So let's go ahead and get started.
Of course. So if you'd like to share the screen, Ferdinand, so they can see a glimpse of our papers. And of course, our papers are on planet63.com, so you guys can read the full little sections that we have in more detail. We will just go through a few of the main topics. So the first we're going to start off is the global market value. So it was valued at 192.2 billion in revenue, and that is with COVID-19 impacted, of course, and it was adjusted. And with the revised for the 2021, and that was 2019 to 2020 value, and the new value revised for 2021 is 217.9 billion, with an expected 1.8% of growth. So with that, it's just kind of with the trends now being set with COVID, it kind of took a deep plummet from 2019 to 2020 because of how the in-person offices and kind of personal touching was forbidden, and people had to evolve. So with that, it made people go into like home offices and sent a lot of electronic mails that did not need any of these special stationaries with these fancy letters. And it just kind of again, with COVID-19 impacted it heavily. But with the rising new trends, with people returning to work, getting back into offices, wanting to put a new type of feeling of normality. So with that, it increases the sales of these types of stationery products that help encourage, that have some uplifting messages, that are brightly colored envelopes with letters that have floral designs that are very uplifting. So these are kind of the new trends that have been being set for these stationery products now into 2021. And with that, it expects to grow at for the global rate at 1.8% all the way up until 2027. And the U.S. office and stationery manufacturing itself was valued, their hobby market, which kind of be the knickknacks and the little games stole in the stationery departments, which is another trend that is set because it helps kind of again give the mind something else to think about from the home location, kind of finding new ways to decorate either the home office, or if you're returning back into a regular office, give it an upbeat feeling. So there, it feels again like it was back to normal before COVID-19. And this was set and valued at around 47.3 million in 2021, with an expected growth, constant growth of 2.0%, and that is the specific U.S. hobby and stationery gift department. So with that, it kind of ties into the overall type of trends being set. Again, it has to be for people to get back into having the empowerment. Again, a lot of these new stationery products, especially per Stationery Trend, another website that is frequently visited, has a lot of trends for women empowerment, for these products that are mostly seasonal products, again, that rotate in colors throughout the year. A lot of these products are seasonal, and they do pick up at around the more of the family holidays, like around Christmas time or towards the fall, where people kind of have these aesthetically pleasing colors, and as well where a lot of the family time is being put together with remembering others and having to send these letters that are more, have more of a personal feeling, rather than these emails that don't have no feeling to it. You can attach a picture to it, but it's different than having the personal writing of someone that you can remember. So that's why these stationary the stationary trend that is increasing, it's more about again having the feelings of normality and returning back to normal, and having these feelings of not having to be scared of having to speak with these people, or sending them letters that are very great in crafts. So
Let me chime in a little bit about that,
mhm,
only because at the end of the day, that the thing that I was surprised, even doing my own research, was that yes, because of the lockdown, I kind of want to expand a little bit on that, because again, the average person, depending on obviously the demographics, your age
yeah,
group, uh, again, that's the reason too why I find that the value
mhm,
of your presence in the show and your demographics, Joseph, is very
yeah,
critical, because at the end of the day, that's probably what's being introduced, because your generation grew up with, a lot of things, just not even wanting to maybe even bother write anything at the end of the day, right? You just want to do everything electronically,
yeah,
and not do any of that. But I think, just like what I said in the beginning of the show, what what's creating that is because of COVID. But at the same time, because I was reading something, and maybe we could expand on it with our guests. I wrote something that I thought was interesting.
Of course.
There was digital fatigue. That's the word that when I was
Okay.
reading or researching, that they discussed. They talked about digital fatigue. A lot of people are tired of possibly being on there when they're communicating, and they just want to utilize a stationery, like a really well
Mhm.
crafted station a card, in terms of sending a message,
Oh
something, some
yeah.
show that they care.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I mean, when lockdown happened, I going through online classes and sending emails, I was sick of sending emails and receiving emails and having so many messages sent online. I personally prefer more of the in-person type of feeling with like letters and stuff. I still send letters. I prefer not to send emails. It's just kind of a thing that we had to adapt to. So a lot of the trends, again, like on social media, it's a lot of these websites that are connected that are represented by influencers, websites like Pinterest and Etsy, that a lot of the people, especially in my generation, that are in the university, especially in high school, when they get to get through the social media, they return to these trends of wanting to be like traditional again, returning back to traditional ways, just to seeming niche again. So a lot of the stationery is a lot of niche markets that people use just to be different, to stand out from people. So maybe sending in emails to ordinary. So they want that fancy glittery or gold printed letter that has, flowers around the borders that again give it a different feeling. So as that evolves, people kind of want to return into the traditional ways. It makes it seem in a way not as lame as it used to be. It's kind of a way of being different. So that's why a lot, especially the targeted age group, kind of like the 21 to the 30-year-old range, that's the range that has a lot of the market share for this type of market. Again, because it's kind of the way of returning back into traditional type ways and seeing through these. The social media influencers have a lot to do with it, especially with ways they find to increase the appeal to these products. So one of the suggestions for staying competitive in one of these industries is putting these unique traits or practices into these products. So that could be like engraving some type of on gift boxes that make it more unique with a different color style, or having the hard printed letters on the envelopes that make it kind of traced and have a good feel to it that people find satisfying. So that's a lot of the different stuff that can make their products more appealable.
I think a lot of the people that are watching us or viewing will view uh, this broadcast. They'll
Mhm.
realize that our guest, some of his work is so amazing, and I think
Mhm.
there's a lot of relevance in the things that he's creating, especially lately, I should say. And I can't wait for him to get on the show, or rather be with us and interacting and talking about the research paper, his plans for the United States for his products, and then we can maybe get a little bit more into to exactly what that all means in a bigger picture, as well as having it more specific to what he wants to do in the U.S. with his company. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and take a little bit of a commercial break, and I want to introduce the sponsor. Now, the reason why I know I'm very happy every time we have somebody to support the show, because at the end of the day, being able to do these shows is very critical. It not only serves on a business level, obviously Planet 63's existence, but I feel that whatever we do crank out here in terms of the data and information and the people that we're trying to educate, but hopefully entertain too sometimes, because of the way we do things here,
Mhm.
is that we want to thank all of the people that support us. And one of the supporters of the show is a company called Sendwave. It's a remittance company, and I'm very excited to have them as part of the show, because at the end, what they're trying to do is the same mindset. They want to help people in the Philippines discover their service, because obviously it's all about remittance, and the Philippines right now, to a certain degree, relies a lot on remittances coming from other parts of the world. And and then at the same time, I love them because they don't have any fees. in terms of using their service. So instead of me talking a little bit about them, let me go ahead and show you their commercial. And here you go. And we are back. And for those who just tuned in and watching the show, you're probably wondering, who is this guy? Who is this other guy? What you're doing is you're watching a show called Planet 63's From Local to Global, its special edition. And my name is Ferdinand Soriano, and I am the founder of Planet 63. And Planet 63 is a product sourcing, logistics management, and export marketing company based in the US. And the purpose of the show is to create buying or selling opportunities for Philippine-made products, investments, and services, creating awareness for them in the US market. And today I am, in these series of shows that we've been doing so far, I've been joined by a gentleman by the name of Joseph Videz. Let me go ahead and bring him into the show. His purpose in the show is he is a prolific writer when it comes to creating business brief or market research. But here in Planet 63, we call it empowerment data, because the purpose of these things, these empowerment data, is to entice, encourage, empower Philippine manufacturers, brand owners, to consider the U.S. market. And what the paper will give you is it'll give you the briefs, the very short information about the value of that market, the market to entry, the competition, and things of that nature. So again, we want to just tell you that these are all available at, in our website. The website is www.planet63.com. So please welcome Joseph Videz. Hey, Joseph.
Hello, Ferdinand.
I'm glad that we continue to do these shows and really try to empower a lot of the Philippine manufacturers. Right now, the time that we have before we introduce, and I'm very, very excited to introduce our guests today. But before we do all that, I just want to make sure that you finished everything that you wanted to say about your market, about the market research you created for stationery products. Because once we bring him in, he has a lively personality. He can take over the show, and I don't mind, actually. So I don't mind doing that. So, but before we do that, go ahead and finish what you wanted to do. Maybe we can touch on a little bit more about it later on, maybe in the next half hour. But for now, go ahead and finish off what you were saying earlier about the market entry, the people wanting to go back into using stationery as opposed to having to deal with digital fatigue.
Yeah, I think again that's kind of a big thing, is the digital fatigue, because a lot of the things I read too mentioned a lot of these stationery products mentioning, and no, not the digitally kind of progressed ones that you make online. These are real stationery paper-based products. So with that, kind of some of the things we have, kind of a recommendation for these Philippine firms or companies, is kind of keeping the barriers to entry in mind, which are it is medium only because the cost of having to keep a lot of these product lines can stack up a lot of the inventory. So that's why a lot of the capital kind of goes towards that um, um, cost of inventory, but the competition keeps it interesting. The competition remains high because of all these product lines maintaining a fragmented sector that keep the competition high. So, and also a lot of the remaining operators are still active. A lot of them have left due because of the COVID-19 impact, but the ones that have stayed are still active and are competing very well. So that's kind of another good thing to keep in mind for the small companies in the Philippines, and a lot of opportunities, kind of like what we have here in California, having the highest business concentration in the US, 12.8%, as compared to all the other states. And the highest county is broken down, as you see on the screen there, ranging from Los Angeles being in first with 54. That's a little bit more, that is more than half of the business concentration within California, with Orange County in second with 24.32% and San Diego with 13.51. And that has a lot to do with kind of the demographic in the regions and the type of technology or the ways people want to communicate. So again, a lot of the population in Los Angeles are a lot of the younger crowd, with a lot of them traveling, going to school. So that kind of promotes them to try other ways of communicating a little bit more, again, with more trendy ways, with like letters, and having to deal with ways that are more artistic. That's kind of the key word, is being artistic in these displaying in as many ways as you can with these type of stationary products. And with that being said, some ways of staying competitive is keeping close proximities high to these high business concentration areas. Luckily for everybody watching this, Planet 63 is in close proximity in Southern California to all these counties, especially Los Angeles. So with that being said, it kind of helps keep the product and the inventory close to these markets that can get rotated quickly because they are seasonal products. So this keeps the guests or the consumers kind of with more products to buy from, and knowing that the product lines are always refreshing and they always have things to look for and purchase in the future.
I you have have accumulated a great amount of numbers that people are probably trying to not filter, but kind of put together in their mind, right, to see the
Hmm.
opportunity. So a Philippine manufacturer, I'm always trying to
Yeah.
put myself in their position, so they see all of this, and
Hmm.
I'm hoping that it does encourage them at the end of the day. And if they, if they need to see this again, I just sort of a plug for the website for them to go ahead and go in there and actually
Hmm.
read it,
Yeah.
and find it sort of, no, it's really interesting because of the fact that there's so much opportunity, that a lot of people are counting it out because of social media and internet, but it's sort of having a resurgence. And
Hmm.
even though technically the growth is small, the fact that it's not going down with what a lot of people think because of what happened, with the internet and all that.
Yeah.
Stationary products, to me, it's just creativity, it's art. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of talk about even using this thing called NFT into the art world or anything like
Oh
that.
yeah. Hmm.
So to me, I'm excited because there's a lot of other things that you can be creative in how to not only distribute the product, maybe format the existing products that are out there currently, like envelopes. I read in your research that
Hmm.
envelopes actually make up a good amount of revenue for a lot of Philippine, I mean,
Oh
for
yeah. They
manufacturers.
yeah, they make up 33% of the revenue, and out of the 5.4 billion, they are accounting 1.77 billion. So it is a big margin.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm
Hmm.
saying. So this is the time to really be creative with
Hmm.
how you sell, distribute, and create products moving forward, because I don't think that will ever go out of style, only because, like I said,
Yeah.
you sort of got a taste for what it is to be always digitally. And
Yeah.
again, the fatigue, that's for real. And I think a lot of times you're going to end up having to want to continue, just how to make it interesting for them to want to go back, because
Hmm.
stationery is not about just the paper, it's also the pen, the
Yeah.
pencils and things of that nature, just like what you said on the
Hmm.
research paper.
Yeah.
Before we introduce our next guest, I'm going to go into a quick break, against, because I want to go ahead and properly introduce him. So we'll do a really quick break on one of our sponsors. It's a company called Teofilo Coffee, and let me see if I can get him on board.
Hi, my name is Ron, and this is Teofilo Coffee Company. Where we drink coffee black.
And we are back, everyone. Again, for those who just tuned in again, you are watching Planet 63's From Local to Global Special Edition. The purpose of the show is to create opportunities, selling or buying opportunities for Philippine-made products, services, and investments in the U.S. market. I am excited, so I'll shut up now. I have as our guest. I am excited to have him here because when we did the empowerment data market research, we were thinking about his company. So I'll be brief introducing because I'll let him speak for himself. We are excited to have one of the owners of a very iconic brand in the Philippines, and a creative director and just all around nice guy. And if you go to his website, which I will try to share, a lot of his artwork is amazing. So please welcome Robert Alejandro of Papemelroti. Hey, Robert.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear
There
me?
you go. Yeah, I can
Yes,
hear you.
perfect. Perfect. Yes.
Yeah,
Excellent.
perfect. Robert,
Hello,
let's get right into
Ferdinand, and hello, Joseph.
I'm
Hello, Robert.
excited. So I'm just gonna let you talk. So first, we tell us about Papemelroti. Talk about the research that we sent you and what you thought, and then talk about the few, your plans for your product or your brand here in the U.S. So take it away.
First of all, I want to thank Ferdinand for having me, and thank you, Joseph, for the research that you did, especially for us, the paper and stationery market in the United States. I really appreciate it. Pape Melroti is actually a mom and pop's kind of a small company that our family owns. It's a family-run business, but we've been here for 50 years, and so that's absolutely no joke. Um, we have a whole range of products. A lot of it is paper products. We're actually quite known about it. It's kind of unique because we use recycled paper and we do our own design. Um, I'm an artist. My sisters are artists, so we do it ourselves. So it's quite unique. Um, and so, yes, Ferdinand, uh, we've been chatting with Ferdinand about bringing Papemelroti into the United States. Honestly, that came about in my mind so many years ago when I was traveling in Germany and I went to one of their top bookstores and I found Korean paper products. And I was like, why why is Korean paper products there and our products aren't? Um, I would like to think that our products are unique. Even our paper is unique. It's recycled, and our design, um, I'd like to think, can compete. And so that was planted in my head so many years ago, and I've always wanted to explore bringing our products overseas. I've always tried to do that. There was a time I immigrated to Canada and I even brought Papemelroti products and I showed it to my favorite shop in Canada, the and it was the library shop. I love library shops and museum shops. They're my favorite. And when I did show Pape Melroti products to the store manager, they were so upbeat and crazy about it. They really wanted our products uh, to be in their shop. But it's not that easy as well. It's easy for me and my sisters to design, and we have our kind of our act together. Uh, in the Philippines, we have 20 plus stores in and around Manila, and we're doing actually quite well. Of course, this pandemic brought us into a tailspin, but we're alive and well. In fact, a lot of our problems is uh, to be able to produce enough products for the consumers. But still, it's still in my head to bring our products overseas because, frankly, um, I know the world would enjoy it. And so early this year, during the pandemic, we found the One Export people. One Export is a site and a company that actually brings Philippine products to the United States. They ship it in container van full, so you don't have to fill up a whole container van just for yourself. They're trying to really make it easy for local manufacturers to bring in their products to the United States. It's called One Export, and we're actually there already. That just happened a few months ago. And we've actually had orders. So that's very good news. Um, I really appreciate the research that Ferdinand and Joseph worked on. It shows that there is a niche market. We understand that it's not a huge niche market. A lot of times people say paper is on its way out. But frankly, that's our passion. And even as we travel, we can see, and again, it's the museum shops, library shops, little bookstores that were crazy about carrying the specialty paper. In the research, Joseph mentioned Pinterest, Etsy. That's the kind of market
Mhm.
we are looking at. Because when you look at our products, that's what we are. It's handcrafted. A
Mhm.
lot of art and design goes into it, and even our paper is very unusual. It's not, again, we are not made in China. We're made in the Philippines, and um, that's for us. That's a selling point.
Mhm.
What the research does not touch on, though, and I think it's a huge thing for us, is the Filipino American market. It's a huge, huge market. I believe and know that. Um, there has been generations and generations of Filipinos that have immigrated to the United States, and throughout the years, there are generations who have never been to the Philippines, who don't know much about the Philippines, but are interested in their Filipino roots. That's what we're interested in as well, because a lot of our design has a lot to do with the Philippines and our culture.
Mhm.
And so that's what we're tapping as well with One Export. We're we would like to ask Filipinos to see whether they'd like to actually put up their own business of distributing Papemelroti products to the different stores in the United States. Stores, brick and mortar stores, or websites as well, such as Etsy or
Mhm.
other sites. I've seen wonderful Filipino American bookstores who I know would really like Pape Melroti products there. So I'm in the process of contacting them. So I know there's a whole lot of opportunity, and we'll do that little by little, because as I said, even the production of products, even for locally the Philippines. is actually, we really have to step up our production because even that, the the market in the Philippines is actually a lot. It's so funny. You'd say the Philippines is not very wealthy, but we sell very well paper products and we have 22 stores in and around Manila. We're actually doing quite well. And hopefully, especially when with this pandemic slowly ending, we'll go back into business and really hopefully that will be very good for business and especially for our staff of more than 200 employees. That's our main concern during the pandemic. So again, I'd like to thank Joseph and Ferdinand for the research. That's a little bit about Papemelroti. Our site is papemelroti.com. We really appreciate the support and encouragement of our patrons and customers, and hopefully Filipino Americans and the
Mhm.
rest of the world. Thank you very much, Ferdinand.
Well, you know what? I wanted you to make sure, and I hope I got the website down. Oh, Papa Melroti. Let's see. I want to make sure everybody gets that. So is that how that's how it looks like, right? That's the right spelling.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Exactly. Thank you
perfect.
very much. And Joseph, Joseph also said that, paper products with, sayings, that was a big thing during the pandemic.
Mhm.
We came up with a what we called an affirmations collection. It's to encourage and inspire people during this trial time,
Mhm.
telling them that storms don't last forever, rainbows will come, stuff like that. I'm sure Joseph understands that.
Oh yeah, of course. I was talking to Ferdinand. It's kind of with especially students going through the university and high school, go through a rough time with a lot of pressures, dealing with society and social media with new things coming on, and looking at your products, I just felt like wow, like even if you see these products over in Hallmark or CVS pharmacy, they feel like generic sayings, like they don't mean much. But after doing some research and looking at these products and from your background, of course, with all the things you've been through, kind of an inspiration really, and that takes a lot into your products, and you can see that. So for me as a 22-year-old university student, I felt that that product line just has a lot to do and a lot of favors for a lot of people, and I just wish a lot more people knew about it. And again, especially since they're sustainable, it just means that you guys do care, and again, that just goes a long ways for us, kind of for the future as well.
Yeah, I think
Thank
overall, I
you.
want to add a little bit on. I want to add a little bit to that,
Hmm.
Robert, because the show is to create buying and selling opportunities. So with me, you already know how I feel about your company and the product
Hmm.
and what it's trying to do. But with this particular format of the show, I just want to encourage more of what you're doing because what you just said, the niche market, I want to really reach out. If I could reach out to people and just shake them in the head and say, this is what will make it unique. Yes, I know that there's been that aspect of, okay, stationery, paper, blah, 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 just like what you said. But like you said, also, the reality with stationery, it's the uniqueness because not only because of the culture that you're touching on, right? That is a given, but that also applies not just for Filipinos. Anybody right now who is into writing, who have discovered writing again or something more personalized, they'll discover your artwork. That's what I'm fascinated with. That's what I'm impressed is your artwork, the uniqueness of it. And then again, I think if we're going to talk about business in general, not just the art part of it, because I know that you're more artistic about the way you run your business, and I appreciate that. But I also want to just maybe put a lot of stuff in, and also make people realize is that that industry will actually will begin to flourish again because it's just a matter of being creative. Like one of the things that Joseph said in the research is about the envelopes. There's different ways to personalize an envelope. I'm reading some of this stuff that I ran into, like for direct mail marketing. Just for that alone, a lot of people can start being creative in how to use art to reach out to people on a business level, right?
Mm.
Because everybody right now creating relationship is not just about emailing them and following up, but sending something that's interesting, you know. And
Mm.
then you could form postcards, like for example, travel industries. Uh, Many times you want to create stationaries that are be more artistic and maybe creative, and postcards could actually make a resurgence to a certain degree in bringing that along in terms of the stationery. And then also again, personalized stationery for unique events like weddings, funeral notice, party favors,
Mm.
and all of those. And I'm not trying to just gloss over, but again, the artwork is the common denominator with all of that. Some of that stuff, like the wedding invitation, some people actually will frame that,
Mm.
right? And
Yeah.
those are the things that I think that would create an evergreen sort of a thing with artwork, especially with the stuff that you create, Robert.
Mm.
And I just wanted to emphasize that, not only to maybe have you think about it a little bit, but also anybody who is into creativity and creating products that are like that. I don't know, that's just something that I found fascinating, that you could repurpose a lot of things, just a matter of changing the way you think about the way you use them.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I mean, meeting Joseph is around 20 plus years old.
22. Yeah, 22.
You know what, Joseph? How I wish I could send you a Papemelroti pack.
Mm.
I know you would love the die-cut jeepneys, and they're illustrated really cool. They're not like
Yeah.
the traditional old Filipino drawings. No, they're
Yeah.
like really cool drawings of Filipino heroes and stuff. Uh,
Okay.
Even during the pandemic, we came out with an articulated doll of
Okay.
Jose Rizal and General Luna, wherein you can cut it up and make them into a doll. And again, I think that would resonate with Filipino Americans. As you said,
Mm.
we had
Yes.
no idea about our brand and our products. I know a lot
Mm.
of people, if they knew about it and what we do and what we have, uh,
Mm.
I know it'll be a hit. But yes, we're doing it little by little, and we really appreciate Ferdinand what you're doing. Really, really grateful. So this is our site. We have figurines.
Hmm.
Recently, we have enamel mugs. These are actually prints of that I did, and again, a lot of the design and illustration I do is Filipino because I really
Mm.
love Filipino culture. It's crazy love-hate relationship, and I love it. I do. I like going to. I'm not sure if you know Quiapo and Recto. These are the seedy parts of Manila, and I love it. This is what it's very very unique.
See, like for
It's the
example, this
fiesta
one.
crazy Filipino way.
Look
Mm.
at this one. The what I'm looking at. I've never seen these particular ones, and I love the way you've incorporated the elegance of the dress, the culture of the Philippines. Just for example, on the left side, you'll see somebody with a top hat with the barong and the Filipiana, and everything's tailored. The way they're dressed, and it's very colorful. I like that. But on the other side, you on the one on the middle, what were you thinking when you did this? Because I like it too. That's obviously a lot of what from the province, right? That depicts the clothing.
I'll be frank, these three sets of illustrations that I made are based on very old 20th century lithographs and from our history. And I wanted to bring them back. I
Mm.
believe even our culture is like this. We're also very sophisticated and elegant. If you can see what's on the screen right now, the R is actually what you call letras y figuras. This was an art form that was done again in the early 20th century during the Spanish time. Names would be made with
Mm.
drawings. So yeah, so we brought that back during the pandemic as well, and that's doing very well. So you can buy, your the letters of your names or your uh, the yeah. So these are like uh, old lithographs that we're bringing back, which is
Hmm.
very, very sophisticated. That's how I'd like to portray our culture as well. And but
But
then on the other side, there's also the funny, crazy fiesta jeepney that I love to draw as well.
but you see that just supports what we were saying, that not only obviously for Pape Melroti, but I think the uniqueness of someone's work in the stationery industry. This is what's going to separate everybody. That's why your products or your creation is going to be, in my mind, with the right plan or the right thing, that the marketing plan. It's just a matter of everybody seeing it. They're gonna buy this thing because to me, anybody who's never seen your art and they're Filipino, they're gonna just go crazy about it. Because again, I'm not just referring to your particular product, but just having these type of products and creating a niche for people. That's what's going to bring people to go into the industry, or rather that type of product, to keep buying it, because these are unique. These are you know probably I've seen people take postcards in the past and then they just frame them. These are frame worthy. I mean, you put this on a sort of a stationery or a greeting card or whatever. It's frameable. Obviously, they're that's going to be around for a while.
Hmm.
Super appreciate that, Ferdinand. It's like the advertisement that you played a while ago, the coffee that is obviously Filipino coffee. That's
Hmm.
also niche market. That's actually what we're all about as well. Targeting the Filipino Americans and showing the richness of our culture as well.
Yeah,
Well,
I think yeah, a lot of these products I think would be displayed, as you said, perfectly, mainly tailored to the Filipino American type demographic. But these are kind of specialty products, so these have to be put into specialty stores, as you mentioned, as these specific bookstores that you like visiting in Germany. I think there might be still a few. I mean, the only one I know of is Barnes and Noble. That's kind of more of like a huge chain, but I'm sure there are other little small shops, especially Filipino owned, as you mentioned, especially in Los Angeles, where there's so many different demographic quarters. There they have the Hispanic, and then they have the Asian and things like that. So that kind of are the type of markets that you have to tailor to, especially if you want to touch into the Filipino Americans, because the art is again like culturally tangled, as the one of the products we did for clothing anthropology is again another take on Southern Asian clothing, and that kind of goes the extra mile, and that has to be put into the minds of the Filipino Americans where they can find it. So I think social media, a lot of the retail sales for stationery as well are rising. So I think advertising through social media, kind of partnering with different types of labels, trying to get the brand awareness out there. I think that's kind of where a lot of the research still kind of has to be done, I think.
well, you created the research, and that's what I'm very
Hmm.
proud of you. This collaboration that you and I do, and Joseph, because
Hmm.
at the end of the day, Robert is already encouraged, right?
Hmm.
But I'm trying to put these research paper in perspective of somebody who may just be aspiring to do something unique, because the research is not about necessarily just for the stationery. It's not. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to tell them that if you're creative and you want to deliver something along in that industry,
Hmm.
it's a big market. You can do that.
Yeah.
And you need to show off the uniqueness of it, because like I said, when you see Robert's products and his
Hmm.
creations, um, like I said, it's not just Filipino. You could have, obviously Philippines has a lot of Hispanic or Spanish influences also,
Hmm.
and you could relate to those products and all the other things that there's whimsical, there's traditional,
Hmm.
and to me, at the end of the day, it's unique, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm just trying to emphasize to other Filipino manufacturers, that you have to really look at what's in the market, create something different, repurpose it, and really figure out how to personalize those products, the envelopes, the paper, the pencils, and the pen. Those are all stuff that everybody knows, but how do you create something unique from them, and how do you use it so that you can make people buy it, not just because it's for practical purposes, but also for evergreen. Like again, I was excited when I said to myself, well, uh, there's going to be a point where a lot of people are going to start traveling again. Hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers, obviously, right? And to me, I see a resurgence in postcards, but the postcards just can't be the status quo. It has to be something interesting about the postcards that you can start using, right? And then again, you a lot of the manufacturers, and my suggestion to Robert is that be enthused or be encouraged by the fact that people are experiencing a lot of digital fatigue at the end of the day. So that's something that you just have to keep on going. So I think a lot of the stuff that we were sharing earlier in the website, those are just needing to create more attention or awareness, which what we're trying to do here in this show. So with that being
Joseph
said,
is right.
yeah.
I feel as if it's a matter of letting people know about our brand and our products. I think Joseph, it's the first time you've heard about Papemelroti.
Yes, it is actually.
It's funny because almost everybody in the Philippines knows about Papemelroti. Almost everybody goes through a Papemelroti phase because we've been
Uh,
here for 50 years.
oh yeah,
And
that's
so,
interesting.
yeah, it's time
Hmm.
that we go overseas as well.
Yeah, especially I think it's time for Filipinos to share the type of products they have, because a lot of the stuff I've looked into are very much interesting, and I'm like, how come I haven't heard of any of this stuff? And
Well,
then I think, yeah.
now you have, and I just wish that we had more time to go
Mhm.
over Robert's creation, because every time I have him on the show or one of the new formats that we're doing, I mean, we could talk for hours. I told you, Robert has an
Mhm.
amazing personality. He could talk for hours about creativity, and I'm just glad he's able to join us today. But unfortunately, I have to sort of sign off only because our time is running out. So, with that being said, I want to thank everyone who's been watching the show. And you have been watching Planet 63's From Local to Global special edition, where we're talking about market research regarding the global stationery product industry. And today we have Robert Alejandro Papemelroti, and I am so thankful for him. He puts a little bit of a class in our show, Joseph. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he does. I think so too. He brings a little bit of something else that I guess we don't
Yeah,
I don't
we
have.
need more of that,
Yeah.
my friend. So thank you, Joseph, for doing the research. And then for our next research, I want everybody to just go ahead and hit subscribe. Please share this, not only to discover Papemelroti, but also help us be empowered also ourselves to create more opportunities for Philippine products. Robert, thank you so much. If you want to say something briefly, just to say goodbye to everybody, please take it away, and we'll sign off on you.
I really just want to thank Ferdinand and Joseph. I'm really glad to meet you, Joseph. Um, I hope to see more of you again. Thank you for everyone who's watching.
Okay,
Thank you.
take care, everybody.
Thank
Let's go
you.
global.